I have low self-esteem. No, but when you look at how incredible you've been throughout your life, regardless of the trauma, you're pretty amazing. And I've had a lifelong fear of public speaking, but you have such an incredible story that you need to share. So you've got to get over that so that you can walk in your purpose.
People like to say, how do your parents neglect you? Explain. They did all they could do. They
Right,
worked, they provided shelter, they provided food, the basic necessities, right?
right, right.
And, a lot of people would say, we should be grateful for what our parents did for us. And of course, we're grateful. You did what you were supposed to do or what you thought you were supposed to do. We go through different experiences in life, and our experiences shape us. As much as we want to be mad and upset sometimes about what we went through, and we think that if we had went this way, things wouldn't have turned out the way that it did, I still strongly believe that everything was already planned out for us in a way. And if we had not gone through certain things in our lives and our experiences, it wouldn't help shape the women and the people and the men that we're supposed to be. If you had not gone through that divorce and you had not started to do the work, would you have known that there was a writer in you?
No,
You wouldn't.
no.
And that's a huge discovery, because now you are helping thousands of people who are going through divorce. And the word divorce is such a stigma.
Yes.
And it's still a stigma to some people today. It's like, don't say that word, shut your mouth.
Right.
And I want to know, now that you're divorced, has your mind, your thoughts, your views on divorce changed? And how has being divorced changed your growing process?
Um, yes, I there for me there was definitely a stigma because my parents never married. So I spent the entire 23-year marriage trying to hold this thing together for the simple fact that I felt like, well, my parents never got married, so I'm going to be that one in my family who gets married and who has a successful marriage and lives happily ever after. And that thing became like a noose around my neck because I was so set on being married no matter what. And felt that if people got divorced, it was because they didn't try hard enough. They didn't work hard enough. As I was going through the divorce, I wrote a blog post about it, how my views on that changed because I'm now having to walk through it myself. And I understand that people can be happy one minute and then, life shifts and changes, and people can be unable to hold a marriage together. And that's not a failure for you to stand up and say, hey, I can't do this anymore because I'm losing myself. I'm losing my purpose. I'm losing my will to live. I need to release myself from this, which then becomes success because you are releasing yourself into something incredible, another chapter of your life, some amazing accomplishments, um, if you choose to view it in that way. And
Yeah.
I did. I chose to see it as releasing myself into another season of life where I get to go out and be who I've always been, who I was designed to be.
That is
It's
beautiful.
exciting.
Yep. That is exciting. You're like discovering yourself all over again and enjoying every piece and
Yes.
puzzle. We're like perfect puzzle pieces, perfect masterpieces that are just figuring out day by day who we are.
Right.
And for me, being having parents that divorced, I was not happy at 6 year old to see my parents get divorced. And another man, I don't know where he came from, or he just popped into our lives. I didn't want to tell anybody else my parents were divorced.
Right.
it was like a plague. I really would like to say that being divorced is not a crime. It can be the beginning, and it is the beginning of something great. And it doesn't
Yes.
always mean that because you get divorced means that you have to have animosity towards that person or
Right.
hate. It's
Right.
healing for both parties.
Right. Right. Absolutely. I lived the best part of my life in the last 5 years. So if I had to get divorced to do that, then that was the vehicle that got me
Yep.
to this stage of my life. And I would not exchange it or trade it. Or I'm asked, do you feel like getting divorced was a good decision for you? Absolutely. I would not
Say it
change
again.
my mind. In my sleep, if you were to ask me, I would shoot straight up in my bed and say, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going back to sleep.
I'm going to sleep peaceful tonight. And, you know, going through divorce and also, truly discovering that you have work to do on yourself, that's tough because you're dealing with all the noise. Everything that everybody
Yes.
has to say. You're getting divorced? Oh my gosh, why? Can you guys not figure it out? And you have imposter syndrome. Because at some point, I find that even when we make the decision and we know that we're making the best decision for ourselves, there's something still at the back of our mind saying, are you sure you should do it? Am I doing the right thing? Maybe I should try to reconcile, figure it out, stay. Maybe things would change if we both go to therapy together or figure out some type of way to get through it. So you have different thoughts and emotions flowing around and people in your ear and things
Mhm.
happening at once. Work, you got to go
Yes.
to work. You got to show
Right.
up with your best face, your best self. You got to show up
Right.
for your family and your friends. And if you have children, you still have to show up for them as well
Yes.
and not allow them to see the hurt. It's like you have to put on a mask just for them to be able to go through their day and go to school and be around their friends as well and not think about you. What strategies did you have, if any, to keep you resilient and mentally stable throughout the process? And how can others implement those strategies in their life or whatever they're going through, whether it's a divorce or an abusive relationship that they want to leave or healing?
For me, it was a very interesting time in that I filed for divorce in January of 20, and COVID hit the world in March. And we lived together in the house for at least 5 months. Extremely. I looked in the mirror one day and said, I must be the most unlucky person on earth to file for divorce, and then COVID, a pandemic hits the world. And now on your birthday, the governor said, go home and stay home.
Oh Lord.
You've got to be kidding me. This is some
Mm-mm.
kind of joke. Who have I harmed in life to deserve this type of punishment? So I went to my mom's and I had a little drink and I cried. And then she was trying to console me and I went home. During that time, I realized something very, very important. And I'm grateful that I had this shift in thinking. When people file for divorce, typically they have to work, they have to take kids, get the kids to school, get the kids to sports, get them to their friends, go hang out with my friends, go do all of these things. Oh, there's this meeting. I have to do this, I have to do that. But yes, I'm still going through a divorce. At the time that I filed for divorce, 2 months later, the whole world shut down.
Mhm.
And it felt like an awful punishment. But one day I had an epiphany. I don't have to go to work every day while I figure out my life. I don't have to run the kids to and from school while I figure out my life. I don't have to do the list of things that the average person has to deal with while I'm going through the beginning of this divorce. I now have time. I switched my whole day around in order to make peace with living in the house with my ex and the kids and the dog, and everyone's home all day. So when everyone would go to bed at night, I would take a shower and put on music. And I had this kind of nightlife of talking to my friends and journaling into the night. And I'd maybe go to sleep at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And then I'd wake up late, get the kids up, get them online for school. And then I would just kind of roam around. I'd take a walk, come back, get lunch together, go out seeking supplies and stuff. It was just like this amazing time that I got to pour into myself that most people don't get to do when they file for divorce. So I felt incredibly grateful. I really did. And I was glad that I had that shift in thinking. I walked a lot. I journaled, I worked out, I prayed, I cried in my closet on the floor. I made lists of things that I wanted to do. I wrote about what my life would look like on the other side, and I used it as a roadmap. And I used my time instead of wallowing in self pity. Now, I certainly had my fair share of crying and sadness, but I did not want to stay in that for very long. I'm a planner by nature. So I wanted to plan what my life would look like, what my new home would look and feel like, what I would have there. I wrote about like having gatherings with my friends in my new home and everything. I used all of that to guide me into my new life.
You had a moment to rest without the noise of the world. Despite COVID going on,
Right.
COVID gave people a moment to rest. I, for myself, I could say that, like, thank you for COVID. I had that same realization that there's more in me. And you discovered that there's so much in you in that moment of rest and not having to carry these weights. That's literally what you're doing. You're carrying these weights. You're carrying the divorce. You're carrying, okay, I gotta heal. You're carrying, okay, I gotta take the kids to school. I gotta show up at work. It's the weight. But you had a rest moment to just put it all down and process self.
Right.
And what advice would you give to anybody who's, we're no longer in that lockdown?
I would say to daily schedule in rest and recovery. And I'm not talking about going to bed early. I'm talking about, if it's like a stretch routine or if it's like deep breathing or a workout routine or just taking a walk. Whatever brings you peace and makes you happy, do it. Just do it. Do something for yourself, that self care, working on your body, working on your mind, reading, listening to podcasts or books, or just pour back into yourself because this divorce is going to take a lot out of you. And it's up to you to put back the good things, the things that are going to help you to continue on in your life successfully. Don't fall into the trap of just being continuously sad and wallowing in that. And yes, you will be sad. And yes, you will have those moments, but do your best to cry it out. Cry it out, cry it out, tears dry. Okay, hop up. What can I do now that I need to get myself moving again? Can I take a walk? Can I call a friend? Can I take a drive? Whatever it is, just remember to take care of yourself. That's the most important part. That's what I learned and how I got through it. It's not selfish. Self care is vital. You can't give anything to anyone that you don't have. Whatever we give to people should be the overflow from our cup. We don't pour out of our cup. We let the overflow that we put in spill on to other people. That way we don't deplete ourselves and we don't give anger to other people.
Right? It's the overflow from our cup that spills onto other people. That is the best truth I've heard since the year has started. Because truly, what we do is we keep pouring into everybody else, giving to everybody else. We leave ourselves dry and empty. And then we're trying
Depleted.
to
And we're
fill back up.
angry. So when we
Yeah.
have to do something for someone, we're spilling anger onto them.
Yep. because we're
and
tired. You're tired.
frustration.
Yeah, you're tired
So,
and you're
am I
burnt out.
helping myself? Am I helping you in that position?
No,
No,
no.
no.
You gotta take care of yourself first. As selfish as that may sound, you gotta take care of yourself first. A lot of people will say
Wisdom.
wisdom. Of course, our children come first. But if you're not at your best and you're empty and there's nothing in there, you can't deliver what you're supposed to deliver to your children, not to anybody in your life that you love or you're supposed to be a voice for. You can't. And I know that you spoke about journaling, and I love journaling. That's how I I tell people this because when I was younger, I loved writing, but I forgot how much I loved writing. It was like my subconscious mind blocked it out. But anything that went wrong in my house, whether the police were there, whether my mom and my stepdad were fighting, I would write. Me and my brother would write music. And that was therapy for us, writing
Right,
music.
right.
And as I got older, listen, I can't sing. Okay. I cannot sing. I did not get that talent. But in my mind, I can sing like Beyonce. I tell myself all that, but I love singing and I can make up music in my head and just sing it. And I don't know where, but then I thought about, I'm like, that came from my childhood. It was therapy for me. So I was always writing from as a child. It was a healing thing for me. It helped me break down what was going on and helped me stay strong internally so that I could survive and still not grow up to be angry and resentful, but become the woman I'm supposed to be. So you talk about journaling. And before I wrote my first book, I actually wrote a journal first by accident because I started to just write and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a good journal planner for people to use. So you talk about that journaling, and it's so powerful to journal. It's so powerful to write our internal thoughts, what's going
Right,
on in our minds,
right,
how we're
right,
feeling.
right. It taught me how to tap into my emotions again once they turned back on and they started flooding my brain.
Yeah.
I needed a place for it to go. And so it was very helpful because to this day, since then, I'm comfortable with my emotions and I'm comfortable exploring them and trying to discover, why do I feel this? I'm feeling something. What is it? And why am I feeling this way? And what am I going to do about it?
And I found that journaling sometimes, when you're going through so many things, at some point you start to feel numb. And even in that moment when you're feeling numb, you can actually write down why you're feeling numb.
Right.
Why are you not giving care to that
Why did you
thing?
shut off? Why are you shutting off
Why are you shutting off?
those emotions? Because they become too powerful. And so we become numb because those emotions are powerful and
Mhm.
we don't want to feel them, but we need to, because emotions are signals.
Mhm. Emotions are signals. And where would you tell people to start with their journaling? For anybody, some people they just hate writing. But you did say something valuable that I would love for you to also go back and share, was that you have an app on your phone.
Yes. There
What
are
is that
apps that
app?
you can get. Mine is called Diary. It's a pink icon with a white feather on it.
Okay.
And there are many. So you can check out you go into your app store, whatever your phone, where you get apps on your phone, and just put in journal or diary, and a list will come up. I like diary because it has its own passcode. And then you can, when you go in to do an entry, you can title it. It gives you a list of emotions you can check, and you can even add your own. So if you're like, there were times when I was feeling a certain way and it wasn't on the list. So I added
Yeah.
emotions to the list,
Hmm.
and then below that, you can just there's a note section where you can just start to journal. And I would just let it flow. I wasn't trying to write a story or write, however, it was like flowing out of my mind. I was just putting in, I have errors and everything in there. When I go back, I know what I was saying. anything, but it just was a great way to, as I said, like if I had mental congestion, it was a way that I could release it and let it flow. And the other piece to it that I love is that I was then able to go back and see my progress in certain areas and the way I felt about things, and the strong emotions and anger were just turning into just me having an understanding of the way that my life was unfolding and what was happening to me. And I was able then to write about like joy and things that, joy that I was finding in just simple things. So I was thankful to see my own growth through that. Because if we don't journal, we don't write it down, we might remember certain pieces, but that's kind of like the record of what we've been through.
That's true. Because I look back at some of the things I wrote and I'm like, whoa, that's how I was feeling. I no longer feel that way anymore. And some
Right.
of it I actually laugh at because I don't recognize
Right.
that person who wrote that anymore.
Right. Right. And that's an incredible feeling. You're like, this is somebody else. This was not me.
Isn't it so
Mm.
strange?
Yeah.
Like I remember when I was writing my book, Commitment to a Deceitful Liar, and it took like I held on to that book for months. I wouldn't release it because I kept reading back and I'm like, but this is not me anymore. Girl, you allowed that? What? Like I was reading and I was like, the new version of Jen would never allow those things. So it's interesting when you write things down and you're able to read it back, you see your progress, you see how you've evolved.
Yes,
So I agree
absolutely.
with you. Journaling is more powerful than we can even imagine when people say write things down. You may not like writing, but even if it's going into your notes on your phone and recording and allowing your phone to just transcribe it for you, it's
Right.
still a form of journaling without using your
Mm.
hands.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
You're just letting it flow. Whatever you're feeling and thinking, putting it out there, putting it down, and releasing it from your mind is powerful, because otherwise that stuff just bounces around up there
Yeah.
and it bumps into everything that you're trying to accomplish.
hmm Yeah, that's true. I agree. In your book, you talk about self love, and self love is personal. It's something that we're all still trying to navigate
Right.
because I figured I have all this self-love. I love myself on the outside. I love the way I look. I love my body. But it's deeper than just how we look. It's internal. How can
Yes.
people cultivate it, especially after facing trauma, loss, or heartbreak?
I think for me, once you understand how you got here, who you've always been, it makes it so much easier to appreciate yourself and love yourself. And especially if you've been in an abusive situation where you've heard lots of negative things about yourself, you can then capture those thoughts. Like for me, I had to capture those thoughts. Anything that was said to me, I would take it, break it down. I'd have like a court case. Well, that can't be true because, you're boring. Well, that can't be true because my friends are texting me, calling me, want me go on trips, wanting me to do this or that. So, this whole narrative that I'm a boring person can't be true.
Can't be true.
Can't be true. So I just started taking all of the negative things that I had heard, breaking them apart, and speaking truth to it. And one of the things that I like to say is that the reason why we get challenged so much with the negative thoughts, the reason why they keep coming is because you won't speak truth to them.
Mhm.
If you were to actually address that thing that keeps coming to you with truth, it would have to be quiet and go away.
Yep, you would have to silence. Yeah.
Right. So once you stop that from coming to you, you're now in a place of freedom, and you begin to see yourself for who you are. And once you see yourself for who you are, you can start to see yourself for who you want to be. Who can't love that? Who can't love that? I'm free. I'm happy. I'm doing the things that I want to do. I'm becoming the person that I want to become. And I look in the mirror and I see joy on my face. My eyes are bright. My smile is bright. My skin is clear. I'm happy and I can see it and other people can see it because they're like, you just seem so happy now. Oh, thank you. I worked really hard to get that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that imposter syndrome that we talk about. When you hear it coming, telling you negative things, this therapist, she told me, she gives her clients these little puppets, little puppet fingers. And when you hear that negative voice in your head telling you you're not this, you are something that you're not, you just get that little finger and say, no, I'm beautiful. I'm kind. I'm loving. You talk back to yourself. It's like positive
Yes.
affirmations.
Yes. The self-talk is so important.
Yeah.
We have to really be careful and capture that stuff when it comes because it's very destructive to you and whatever it is that you're trying to do. And you have the power over that. You can silence that with truth.
And I know that you found the courage to write this book off of journaling, and you didn't realize, but you wrote this book to encourage, empower, and give other people the permission to thrive through their divorce without feeling this burden,
Yes.
this
And
guilt.
not just divorce, because I've been through so many things. It speaks to a myriad of issues that people would experience in their lives. And for that, that was the one thing. I did not want to write a book strictly, for divorce. I wanted it to speak to anyone who's dealt with any one of the issues that I've had to conquer or that I went through as a child. I wanted it to be a roadmap for lots of people.
It's a beautiful book, and I can't wait to get my copy.
Coming soon.
I cannot wait to crack open it. I did get to read a little bit of it online and stuff, but I'm excited about your book. So thank you for writing it for us and allowing it to be a part of your legacy because it's beautiful.
Thank you.
You not only stopped at being an author, alimony, life, and advocacy. How did you start a divorce blog? I know you said it in the beginning a little bit about it, but becoming a voice for alimony and life, how did it impact your own healing and what role does it play in the community?
Like I said, I was journaling and I felt that there were other people who were experiencing the same things that I was going through. And I wanted to create a safe space. So I started off writing in the beginning myself, and then I brought on three, and I have four other writers. We all write about the various topics: divorce, dealing with our children, our exes, our families, our, dating, just all kinds of, there's so many topics behind it, loneliness, you name it, we write about it. And I'm really proud of the writers because they tap deep. Sometimes I get their blog posts and I'll respond back and say, you really you went in deep on this one. Thank you so much, because it is through the depths of our pain and our sharing that we can reach people. If we're just writing from surface, doesn't really touch people.
Mhm.
So I'm proud of that. Eventually, I added a private community to that, because I wanted to have a safe space. So I moved the conference. I used to be on social media with it, but then was advised to move it to a secured network. So people can come in, it's not connected to social media, it's locked down, and people can talk and share. The blog posts are there, songs, videos that deal with some of the topics and issues that we go through, and morning motivations. So I'm really proud of it because it helped me, creating the space, and then I work in it daily. So it challenges me, it gives me encouragement, and I'm really happy about it. Alamonia Life became sort of the hub. So it was just, going along with the divorce blog for a few years. And then I decided to start speaking. And so when the book came along, it kind of came under that umbrella. It's been my baby that I get to watch grow.
I
Yeah.
love that. But what about for people who aren't divorced?
For
Can they
people
also
who,
join that group or?
I prefer for people to be divorced within that group, just because people who okay, so the blog is for, and the private community is for people who are contemplating going through and struggling on the other side. So I have members who have been divorced for 10 years, and I have people who are contemplating. So that's
Mhm.
nice because it's, there's
Support.
just a right, yeah. I liken it to a buffet. You come in, you take what you want, there's no obligation, and you do your thing. No pressure here.
Okay.
Take what you need.
Take what you need. I like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And what misconceptions would you say are still surrounding divorce and your life after and starting another relationship, would you say?
I think that people think it's the end of the road, that they're gonna be lonely forever. And for me, it was like I thought, oh gosh, I'm going through divorce. I'm gonna be lonely forever. But wait a minute, I've been lonely for years.
Right.
I've been struggling with loneliness for years, so it cannot get any worse. But I think that, some of the writers have written, that's one topic that I don't write about is dating. And I don't write and discuss my kids specifically because those are two areas that I keep sacred. But I have other writers that do write about dating, and people that I have spoken with have, taken some time to heal. It's best if you've taken some time to heal, and then take your time and get back into it. And maybe you want to, if you're really nervous about it, seek therapy as you enter the dating scene. So you have someone who's that you can bounce off of and give you advice and just kind of, guide you as you're going through that challenge, because it is a scary step for some people. I know some people say, I don't ever want to date again. And there are some people that, like, right after they leave the attorney's office to initiate, they are
Mhm.
like out there,
They're
like
ready to mingle.
they're ready. They're like, I'm not single, but I'm going to mingle.
Yeah. And I'm going to enjoy myself because for years I've been
Right.
stifled. Yeah.
Right. And so I understand that. But yeah, I think it's amazing. I've spoken with people who have been happy in their dating since getting divorced. And I've spoken with people who are happily remarried. So it's possible. I just feel like we come into it with a much better understanding. We know who we are better. We've been through some things, so we're going to be much more guarded and careful. And anything's possible.
Anything's possible.
Yeah.
I love that. And what word of encouragement would you give to somebody who's gone through that process of domestic violence, trauma, and now they're out and they're trying to just navigate their life and figure out what's next for me? Am I finished? Is this it, like we said before? Can I start over again? And I know that some people focus on age.
Hmm.
Age does not matter. In my opinion, I don't think people should focus and say, well, I'm 40, I'm 30, I'm 50, my life's done. I can't restart
Right.
again. I can't.
People get married at 80.
People get married at 80.
People get married at 80, find the love of their life, and they run right off into the sunset
Right.
happy. So I wouldn't put a timestamp on myself or feel, like my life is over. But I think one of the most important things that I did, and that other people that I know have done or are doing, is getting into therapy,
Mhm.
because that's going to help you tear down the old and build up the new with a support system behind you.
And for anybody who's, after divorce, I have a lot of friends who've been divorced or ended relationships, common law relationships, hiding away from family and friends because they don't want to talk about it. There's like this shade of shame. I'm divorced.
Yes,
So
yes. I
what?
wrote about it in my book. Um, I have a whole chapter on friends and family. I had a whole spectrum of experiences. I had friends and family who were so amazing and in my corner and checking on me and lifting me up. And I had people on the other end of the spectrum who were tearing me down and trying to kick me in my weakest moment. And so what I did was is I learned to gravitate for the good, and there were people that I either cut out of my life on the other end of the spectrum or I limited access.
Access.
Yeah, because in this space, you need to heal and move on. And it would be if you were in the hospital, having had surgery and recovering, and someone came in and poured alcohol or salt on you, would you ever want to see them again?
Oh.
No, no. And I mean, give it some time and some conversation later on down the road, we can, attempt to repair that. But I learned in that period of my life to gravitate toward the people who were being genuinely supportive, not those who were pretending to come by my house and drop off stuff so they could try to get the tea.
Be nosy. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I have some Lipton in the in the cabinet if you want to take that and go. That's all the tea that
That's
you're
all
going
the
to
tea
get
you're gonna
here.
get.
That's
Yeah.
all the tea you're going to get here. But that was shocking. I had friends who had dinner in my home who found it difficult to look me in my eye or to talk to me, or who made false promises. Oh, I'm going to come by and see your new place and stuff like that. I just had in my mind, I had to just wish them well and send them on their way, because sometimes people don't have the capacity to separate the two, especially if they know both of you.
Yeah.
And they have a tighter relationship with one of you than the other. That door swings both ways. I got hit by it. He got hit by it, with certain people. And so you just have to say, this is part of the experience. And what I learned was that certain people had to leave my life because that was just the design, the way things were set up, the way that it was going to happen. I had no control over that. But I realized that for the people who left my life, they made space for all of the amazing people who showed up
Yeah.
afterward. So I was okay, and I was going to be even better. Big
I,
chapter in the book.
I can't wait to read that chapter because I feel like people still need to be okay with letting go of certain people, regardless of history or time or experiences together, so that new people can enter in our lives. Because some people are really just seasonal, regardless of
Yeah,
how long you've known them. And there are people who are seasonal during the marriage, but after the marriage, it's time for them to, dipset, for
yeah.
better lack of words, right?
Yeah,
And
they had to go. They had to
yeah,
go because they were everything in our life that we have around us should be beneficial to us. So when there is no benefit there for you or the other person, then it has to be cut off. They have to go. I don't have animosity toward those people. I don't hate them in any way. I wish them well on their journeys. But in this phase, I need to be about my journey and about what this space and time looks like and feels like for me. And so I'm just going to gravitate toward these people who are bringing positive energy and goodness to me. And there are mutual friends who are um amazing, who had the ability to separate the two, and I'm grateful for that too.
love it.
Yeah.
Now, with your new life coaching certificate, what are your hopes and dreams to helping other people heal and discover who they are?
my plan is to write a workbook to go with lessons on the way to once in my memoir. Now I'm doing individual life coaching sessions so that I can get experience. But my true goal is to do workshops and group sessions because I really have a passion for helping people kickstart their lives again. A lot of people feel stuck for whatever reason, whatever thing they've been through. And I really have a heart for pulling people together and saying, okay, how can we come together and give you this fuel, this passion, this fire to jump back into life full speed and get going again? That's what I want to do.
I, I I'm all for it, and I'm looking forward to watch you in action and to hear all your testimonies from your clients about what you've been able to help them do in their journey. And for my listeners that are listening to you now and they're looking for a word of encouragement, a message to remind them to keep going, and it's okay to be selfish, what would you say to them?
I think one of the most important things that I learned was that for so much of my life, I felt unseen and unheard and unimportant. But during those really rough years of my life, there was an inner strength in me that kept going. That same strength that carried me through most of my life is the same strength that I grabbed onto and rode into this new season of my life. Everything you need to get from where you are to where you want to be is already inside of you. Maybe it's dormant because of what you've been through. You need to understand really your power and who you truly are and let that guide you. It won't disappoint you.
And for anyone who wants to reach out to you, whether they want to get some coaching from you one on one, purchase your book, join the alimony group, or just get some advice from you, how can they reach out to you?
Just go to my website, Alimonia Life, ALIMONIALIFE.com. That's where you'll find me. And you can follow me on Facebook, Regina Hiremath, motivational speaker. I have another page, Lessons on the Way to Onesome. And on Instagram, it's Onesome Book. I'd love to interact with you there. Lots of places to find me.
Regina, thank you so much for your insights, your wisdom, and your love that you've left on this platform. Thank you for being a sounding board for other women and men who are experiencing things that they've never spoken about, and for being an open book, for sharing your life experience and allowing other people to know that it's okay to share theirs too, so they can heal and live life to the fullest and not hold back or fear judgment from anybody, because life is truly about ourselves and how we live and how we show up for ourselves and how we want to look for our own selves, not to everybody else. What we want to represent, what do we want to transfer onto other people? So I want to thank you for standing in the gaps. Thank you for accepting your calling. Thank you for being so bold and boastful in your purpose. You know, people say, oh, being boastful is, you're allowed to be boastful in your purpose and love it and live it. And you are doing that. So I want to thank you for joining me today and allowing my guests to feel your beautiful presence and being accessible for them to reach out to you. It was an absolute honor to have you join me today.
Thank you so much for having me on, Jen. Thank you for allowing me to come into your space, your platform, to share my story and to uplift others. Yeah.
Thank you.